Hello friends, this is Vedavati Varkala working in Narayana IAS Academy. We have started a new program called Prelims-2020 Made Easy. In the last class, we have seen about latitudes, longitudes, heat zones and location of a time with respect to Greenwich Mean Time, right? Today we are going to see standard time of a country and how are the time zones divided for larger countries. So if each town keeps time of its own meridian, there would be much difference in local time between towns. So what does he mean by this? See, for example, if a country lies between 30 degrees east to 40 degrees east longitude, see, if for every meridian for 31, 32, 33, they will be calculating time from the 0 degree meridian, right? So if each longitude has different times, it would be very problematic for the people, right? If they are going from town to town, they will be facing different times. They have to keep changing their watches, and that will be very problematic for flights, meetings and even administration purposes also. So a country need to have some specific time for all of these things to happen easily. So it is problematic for the travelers who are traveling from one country to the other because they have to keep changing time. So most countries adopt their standard time from the central meridian of their countries. What does he mean by this? For example, take our country as an example. See, our country is spread in between the longitudes of 68 degrees east to 97 degrees east. So from Gujarat to Arunachal Pradesh, this is the longitudinal spread. So 97 degrees minus 68. What is the difference? It's almost 29 degrees. So we know, right, for every 15 degrees, it takes 1 hour to cross. For 29 degrees, it almost takes 2 hours. So there is a difference of gap of time if 2 hours between 68 degrees and 97 degrees. But if we have one time at this longitude and another time at this longitude, this gonna be facing some serious problems. Just like we discussed before, all the flights, meetings, administration and for tourists, it will be very hard for them to plan. So our country has chosen a central meridian which is 82.5 degrees east from the 0 degree meridian as the standard time for our country. So we know, right, from the Greenwich Mean Time we can calculate time zone of a longitude. So that time will be applicable all over the country. We are going to see how that is calculated very soon in this class now. So we saw, right, just like our country did, most countries adopt their standard time as the central meridian. But Canada, USA, China and USSR cannot have a single time zone. Why? These are some very larger countries, right? They have very large longitudinal spread. There will be gap of almost 6 hours between west to east. So if it is like noon here, it is absolutely night here. So they can't have a same time. They need to have different times. See here, difference between local time of Atlantic and Pacific coast is nearly 5 hours. See, we can clearly understand from this picture. See, this is Atlantic coast, right? And this is Pacific coast. So the difference from here to here, because there is such a large longitudinal spread, it is 5 hours in difference. So imagine if it is 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the Atlantic coast, it will be somewhere around 7:30 on the Pacific coast. So here they need to have different time zones. That's why we can see USA and Canada has 5 time zones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5. But comparatively smaller countries have only single time zone, just like our India. See, India has only one time zone. Pakistan has single time zone. Southeast Asian countries have single time zone. But you see here Africa has 4 different time zones because it is also comparatively large. Here South America has 3 time zones. Previously Soviet Russia has 11 time zones, but now after disintegration they have 9 time zones. Now let's see another concept called the international dateline. This is date. So the traveler gains time from Greenwich until he reaches meridian 180 degrees east, then he is 12 hours ahead of GMT. So just like we discussed before, the traveler is going from the standard meridian to the east up to this 180 degrees, he will gain 12 hours. And if he wants to go west from the 0 from here to 180 degrees, he loses 12 hours. So it means this is one rotation, right? For the 0 to have a complete rotation and come back to the same position, it's going to take 12 hours plus 12 hours, 24 hours, which means a day. So exactly opposite to this 0 degree line, we have this 180 degree line, right? On the opposite side. Now that is taken as international date line. Why is that? See, if we are moving from west to east, we are going to see day, right? From night to day, we can see. So at this point, the early morning is happening here because the east side sees the sun first, right? But what is happening on the west side? This is all the darker part. As it rotates from 0 like this, the places left of 180 degrees, all these are the areas which are going to see the sun last, which means it is night at here and it is morning at here. See, the concept is simple. Like now, here we have a spheroid shape, right? Let's just think we will cut this sphere and we will spread it like a sheet. So if the 0 degrees is here, this 180 degrees is here, right? To the east side. Now the west 180 degrees is here on the west. So if you are joining this and this, we are getting a circle. But now let's imagine that we have spread it like a sheet. So this is the easternmost part, right? And this is the westernmost part. What we discussed, that the sun rises in the east, which means the east side is going to see the sun first and the first morning is happening here. And as we move from east to west back, here it is still dark, right? So it is still night here. So here the previous day is happening. Here it is the next day. So here we can define this 180 degrees line is nothing but a line where date changes exactly by one day when crossed. If you cross to the eastern side, it is the next day. For example, if it is 28th here, if you cross on the east, it is 28. But if you cross from this line to the west, just immediately it will be 27th. Because it is the previous night here, but here it is the next day. So that demarcation, that particular line which is differentiating the day and night is known as international date line. See, this is that 180 degrees line which is opposite to the prime meridian. We are seeing from the opposite side now. See, this line is differentiating Russia and Alaska here. So we know, right, America is in the west and Russia is in the east. And we also know now, right, that in the east morning happens first and later the west will see the morning. So here if it is 15th here, immediately if you cross this line, you will find this is 14th here. Because this is the extreme west side, right? This still did not see the sun, right? So it is still night here. So from here what can we say? That this line is bringing a change in the calendar date from 15th to 14th. Now see, this ideal international date line is in this mid-Pacific. But if we observe, this is not a straight line like the 0 degree line. It is in this zigzag manner, right? So why is this zigzag? Because here are some islands spread here. So if we draw a straight line, they are passing through the landmass of islands. For example, here is an island and international date line is passing like this. So what is the property of this date line? Here it is another date, here it is another date, right? So it is very confusing for these islands to have different time zones. For that reason, they made this line not to pass through any island. So they drew this line only through the sea so that it is not passing through any landmass. So all the islands that are lying east to the IDL, they are following American time zone, and some islands which are lying to the west, they are following Asiatic or New Zealand time zone. Now let us see about Indian Standard Time. We discussed, right, a country will choose its standard meridian almost the central longitude. And we are no different. We also choose some central meridian as the IST. So we accepted 82.5 degrees east as our standard time, which is 5 hours and 30 minutes away from GMT. So we know, right, somewhere at 0 degrees we have Greenwich meridian, which is the standard meridian. From here, the central meridian of India is 82 degrees, 82.5 degrees east. How do you know it is exactly 5 hours and 30 minutes? We know, right, for every 15 degrees, it takes 1 hour. So you calculate how much it takes for 82.5 degrees, you will get 5 hours and 30 minutes. So this means if it is 1 p.m. at GMT at 82.5 degrees east, we will have exactly 5.5 hours late, around 6:30 p.m. And why PM? Because we are located east of the London, right? East of the 0 degree meridian. And we know as we go to east, we have to gain time. We will be adding time, right? So it is 6:30 p.m. In reality, if you calculate time for the 68 degrees, you will get something. And at 97 degrees, you will get another time. This and this difference is almost 2 hours. But we have decided we will take only single time from the central meridian, and that is this IST. Here we need to remember one important fact. This IST is passing like this, right? Here they may ask, IST is passing through which states in India? Here it passes through 5 states, and they are UP, MP, Chhattisgarh, Orissa and Andhra Pradesh. So try to see in the map and remember those 5 states through which IST passes. Now there is a concept called Chai Bagan time. This is exclusively for India. See, 150 years ago, British colonialists introduced this time. See, in Assam, it is known that they have famous tea plantations, right? So Assam is somewhere here. And it is almost 1 hour ahead of GMT. So the morning is happening 1 hour before in Assam. So they wanted to change their time schedule 1 hour ahead of IST. And why is this? For the proper usage of daytime and to increase their productivity. But after independence, they were using standard IST only for all these years. But now Assam wants to change it back. But anyhow, Indian government did not accept that proposal, and still Assam is following IST only. So now let us see some previous year questions. Now these all appeared in different exams. So Indian Standard Time IST is determined according to the local time of which one of the following longitudes? Just now we saw, right, we have chosen 82.5 degrees east longitude as our standard time. If it is 10 AM at IST, what would be the local time at Shillong in Meghalaya on 92 degrees east longitude? Here you can calculate. See, what do we know? What is our Indian Standard Time? It is at 82.5 degrees east, right? And he is asking the local time at 92 degrees east. So there is almost a gap of 9.5 degrees in longitude. So we know, right, for every 15 degrees, it is 1 hour in difference. So for every 9.5 degrees, what is the difference? So the answer will be around 10:38 AM. See, we only went ahead. We gained time because 92 degrees is east of 82 degrees. So if you are going east, we have to add time, right? So we have made 10:38 AM. So we added 38 minutes extra. There are 2 places P and Q. The longitudes of P and Q are 45 degrees east and somewhere here 60 degrees west. What will be the difference between their local times? So see here, if 0 degree meridian is somewhere like this, so here we have almost 60 degree in difference and here it is 45 degrees gap. And we know the simple fact, right? It is 15 degrees for 1 hour. So if you calculate, it will be 4 hours here for 60 degrees and it will be 3 hours here for 45 degrees. So what is the difference? 4 plus 3 is 7 hours. So if it is 6 PM at this longitude, it will be 11 AM on this west longitude. Because we saw 7 hours gap. If the difference in time of 2 places is 2 hours and 20 minutes, then what is the difference in their longitudes? So we know, right, for every 1 hour, it is 15 degrees. So here 2 hours means it is 30 degrees already. So here for extra 10 minutes, it takes 5 degrees. So 30 plus 5 is 35 degrees. See, the questions will be very simple like this if you understand the concept. The standard time of the following countries is ahead or behind Greenwich depending on whether they are east or west. We know, right, if they are on the east, they are ahead because they are seeing the morning first. And if they are on the west, they are behind. So he is asking us to arrange which country will be ahead in time and which country will be least in time from the Greenwich. So see, the easternmost country will have the first sunrise, right? So here the easternmost country is Japan. In all these places, if you locate on map, see, Greece is in Europe, Iraq is in Middle Asia. So if you see, Costa Rica is the most western country. This question is very simple because if you just know that Japan is the easternmost country in all these options, you can easily put the answer, because see, this option is starting with Japan only. So if you arrange, Japan will be ahead in time first, then Iraq, then Greece, then Cuba, and the westernmost country, Costa Rica, will have the least time. Thank you.